Dear coffee lovers, what goes best with coffee? Another cup of coffee. I had my first cup of the day 10 minutes ago. I'm ready for another now. This is me. My husband makes me one, I finish it and make a second. There are whole barista classes on pairing coffees with treats. The treat can enhance certain flavors, notes of the coffee significantly. It's pretty interesting to try the same cup of coffee with different flavors. My favorite pairings are fruit pastries, salted chocolate, and spicy candy. Thought of that answer, found it as the first comment. We people of the world are truly united in body and mind through our addiction. And what do we drink apart from coffee? More coffee. If it's in the morning, silence. Mornings are for coffee and contemplation. And the poo. Oh, sorry, you said contemplation already. Trees, water, and sun to go with that silence. The best coffees I've ever had were early mornings, while the only one up camping on a beach along the Atlantic in Portugal. There was a high cliff over the beach, and sitting at the edge of that as the sun rose behind me, surrounded by green and blue, it's calming just remembering it. In the summer, I will set my alarm 30 minutes early just to go sit on the back porch and drink a coffee in silence before my wife and daughter get up. I'm outside right now in sunshine, on a yoga mat, with a book. All I can hear is birds tweeting, bees humming, my son talking to himself about ninjas, and a distant lawnmower. I have a coffee. This works. Yes, I love my mom, but she always tries talking to me first thing in the morning when I'm relaxing, enjoying my cup, which is exactly when I don't want to be talking. When I was in my teens, I used to work construction for my father. We had an unspoken understanding in the morning. He would wake me up at 5:30 a.m. I would go down and get coffee going, make my toast, pop his in, grab the paper, then we would sit there and silence eating our toast, drinking our coffee, reading the paper. The days my stepmother couldn't sleep and came down drove me crazy with all the talk. A comfy chair, rain, and a moment alone. This is my new favorite thing. When my 11-month-old goes down for a second nap, I spend that hour sitting by myself with my coffee. It's the one time of day I actually feel relaxed. Don't forget a cool breeze through the open window. I love the contrast of feeling a little chilly and wrapping my hands around a warm cup, letting the steam rise and mist my face. The downfall of my enemies. Revenge is best served like the forgotten cup of coffee, cold and bitter. A few years ago, I was painting my porch. I made a big cup and would sip it from time to time. It was an early summer morning. Anyway, it's sitting on the railing, and yeah, I forgot about it until maybe an hour later, I remembered it. It was so good, I didn't mind it was cooled off. I was thirsty, so I just gulped it down. But as it hit my throat, I felt a big lump go down with it. I can't prove it, but I'm guessing it was a drowned horsefly. It still bothers me. Cigarette. Had to sort by controversial to find this one. Would have been the top answer in the 90s. Oh, how times have changed. Been 2 months now without a smoke. Finally had to quit when all the COVID started. Damn, I miss my coffee with a smoke. I quit smoking 3 months ago because I stopped enjoying it. Somehow I appear not to get physically dependent, but cigarettes go so well with coffee or heavy drinking. Caffeine and nicotine together also make for a pretty strong hunger suppressant, which has always helped me when I needed to lose weight. Any kind of sweet treat. I eat muffins or a slice of cake with my coffee. Sadly, the best thing I have had with my coffee was a chocolate cake. It was leftover birthday cake. The richness of it made the coffee so amazing. I am already overweight, but now I understand why people are willing to become bedridden. If you didn't know that before, coffee and chocolate are complementary flavors, so you can amplify chocolate by adding a bit of coffee, powdered espresso for example, and vice versa. Whiskey. When I smoked cigarettes, there wasn't anything more satisfying than waking up, having a hot cup of coffee, and the first smoke of the day, followed by a massive gulp. I've poured tequila into my coffee before when I was younger. Is that a Mexican coffee? A beautiful person to drink it with. Only the second cup. The first cup must be enjoyed in silence and solitude. Before I stopped drinking coffee, I used to love a freshly baked bread with butter, with café au lait. That was how I got hooked into coffee by my granddad. He would dip a heavily buttered roll into his black coffee and give it to me. I still love that combination. Why did you stop? Around 11 years ago, I brewed a coffee jar to study at night. And I don't know if it was the huge quantity of coffee I drank or if it was the fact that I drank the leftovers in the morning after, but man, the coffee fucked me up badly. I spent 3 days feeling like I had the worst hangover ever. Nausea, dizziness, headache, the whole thing. Only other time I felt even close to this miserable was that time when I drank half a bottle of vodka on an empty stomach and got sick. I remember being sick at the very smell of coffee during those 3 days. You can imagine how absolutely miserable I was. Looking back, I think it affected my liver. I tried to drink it again once or twice, but I don't like it anymore. To this day, the very smell of coffee gets my gag reflex on alert. I'll admit I feel better ever since I stopped drinking coffee. I felt the difference in my anxiety levels, and my stomach became much more agreeable. Bacon sandwich. This is never wrong. Reading that made me nostalgic. My mom was originally from the UK, and when she retired, she went back to live in London. My job involves a lot of international travel, especially to Africa, and I would try to choose a connection through Heathrow to arrive in the early morning and leave that night. So I'd hop on the tube and go to see her for the day. She would always make bacon and egg sandwiches for me, with the crust cut off, and freshly brewed coffee. Although she was a tea drinker, she knew I loved coffee. She died several years ago. I love remembering the little things like that. A butter croissant and a fresh squeezed glass of orange juice in a small cozy coffee house with the gentle morning sunshine. Best ever. Came to say this, but was beaten to it. Only thing that I would add is having the luxury of time to enjoy watching the world hurry by for a while. Depression. More problems, more coffee, more espresso, more depresso. I like my coffee black. If you have good beans, it doesn't need anything in it. A French press is good to use too. It's good with a little cinnamon sometimes, and I like coffee cake or cinnamon rolls with my coffee. I love coffee. I have about 5 pots a day. Depends on time of the day, to be honest. Morning, toast, and the majestic view I got from my fort balcony while I was at university. It was also foggy around the top of the clock tower and my favorite view of campus. Midday, 10-minute jam session of your favorite playlist and some kind of baked good. I usually prefer croissant or coffee cake. Evening or night, Adderall or tiramisu, because the only reason I'm drinking coffee this late is because I'm pulling an all-nighter and hate myself, or 2, just ate at one of my favorite Italian restaurants and I always get coffee and a dessert after my meal. Anything chocolate or chocolate flavored. You dip that chocolate muffin in your coffee, you'll be orgasming then and there. A good book and a cozy place to read it. Chocolate cake is awesome with coffee, but a lesser known accompaniment would be beef. Others, rose, orange peel, ice cream. Every morning I have a cup of coffee and watch all of paper of a show or movie in piecemeal. Just something to enjoy in addition to enjoying my coffee. I rarely eat breakfast. I'm good with just the coffee. I started doing this in college and haven't stopped. It's done great things for my mental and emotional well-being because I start the day with some me time before getting on with my day.